I don't see him. Good. All right, good morning. Hamilton County Commissioner Court come to order. This is Tuesday, the 26th day of July, 2022, 9:30 a.m. County Courtroom, Manhole, Texas. Now 9:36 a.m. You'll all rise. Bobby Hall, lead us, please.
Audience is aware of Everett Williams, attorney here in Anahuac, and also placed out passed away last night about 9 o'clock. Remember his family. I know him well. He grabbed a rusty pocket out one time, cut the needle, just see if it cut. But good friend of that family. He's long time ago. Lord, we come before you today. We lift up first Everett's family, the boys, Shirley, say, remembering him, and Lord, we remember him. We know what a great family he was. Lord, we just ask you to be with them and comfort them as only you can. Help us as what we can do to help and to have some comfort there today. Lord, we've lost several just I'm just still breathing. Y'all are still Gilbert Street, many of them are still breathing. We ask you, Lord, just to help us to be a comfort to them and encouragement to them. Lord, as we come down to Carroll to visit the Chambers County, we thank for you, how you blessed us, and you blessed this county, and everyone here with us, and guide us and direct us, and make your wisdom be our wisdom. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
On some pledges. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. All right, citizens' comments. You have 3 minutes to make your comment. Monica Cognata. Ms. Cognata. Luke, Mr. Cognata.
Can we have it during 3 points, please?
Sure. You want to wait? We'll get to it. Hey, Mara, you want to wait? Is Rusty here? Tonight?
Did you want to do it online?
I don't know. Lauren maybe he did. Okay, that's all since coming I had. Nobody wants to talk. Fair enough. No, shut up. All right, let's go to law enforcement 721, discuss and consider stipend pay for correctional nurses. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Yes, the court considered, you come before you all a few weeks ago, requesting a stipend for correctional nurses for the borough of $8,000. Since that time, we have had no applicants apply. For that reason, we're trying to make the position attractive, and we're asking for an increase of that stipend from $8,000 to $12,000 annually.
That is only for our employees. I mean, we're gonna do a contract.
We got a contract in place, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
But this is for a full-time permanent position.
full-time permanent. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve it, Judge.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Combs. And that is 091 funds, health services. There is a plan there to do this. Any questions, comments?
Now, I want to just make sure that everybody understands there is a national shortage of nurses and everything involved there. So we're doing everything we can to fill these positions and to give the care that's needed within that facility. And it's a very, you hate to say hostile work environment, but it's a very trying environment over there. So we're trying to do everything we can to provide the care that they deserve.
Yeah, it's a little different working there than working in the clinic somewhere.
Yes.
I just wanted some
little bit of guidelines in here to make sure
17.
how they get that pay and that's for a permanent position and I think this, we put that in there, they got it added in there, so they have to obtain their T-code license, so, or jailer's license, so.
Within a certain amount of time.
Doesn't say that, but we may be able to clean that up a little bit
We
and
need to revisit the job description.
Within a year.
then
I've got them enrolled with a 90-day. It's still completed.
so I appreciate the sheriff's office taking an initiative here and trying to correct this and hopefully we get some qualified people in here to fill these positions. So I appreciate y'all's work, Todd.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know. All right, those in favor?
Uh,
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. For the road bridge 3. No, let's go to 2.1, sorry, financial discuss, consider approving the Chambers County financial policy. Come on in, Aaron.
So this is just, well, it came to light that we needed a really good consolidated financial policy. So we do have all these policies kind of somewhere, but we don't really, we brought them all together. We do still have our separate purchasing policy, investment policy, fund balance policy, which they do mention into this policy right here. But if you have any questions, just let me know. This really consolidates everything that we have currently.
All these that we approved over the years.
Yes, sir.
Wait for approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Hammond. Questions? Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 3.4 on the road and bridge, discuss consider vetting BGE Inc., Bush Hutchison and Associates, Friesen Nichols, Johnson, Miriam and Thompson, S&B Infrastructure, Engineering Inspection Services, Chambers County Roadway and Drainage Infrastructure Projects. Bobby, you, Corey.
Yes, we went out for proposals for these services, and these are the ones that came in, and they're all qualified, and we will like to just vet them in, and then what we will do, we'll end up doing some negotiation on cost and everything, and come up with some teams that can help us with inspection. Also, remember, we have a in-house inspector that is learning from all these people, and he will be in the future, as he gets better and better, will be helping and relieve some of the costs that we have for that projects.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Gore. Questions?
Clarify, Judge, it was an RFQ, not RFP for that process.
And some of these are already approved and worked with the county. We already- And Judge, I just see that Rusty came in, and Rusty, I don't know if he wanted to speak to this item or what it was.
No, he's on economic development tourism. I'm sure you wanted public hearing.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, by the way.
Morning.
Oh, yeah.
This will just create a little more competitive environment for these guys.
That's correct.
All right, got a motion second. Any other questions or comments? Hear none, those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 3.5. Discuss consider approving Terracom proposal for material services, Kilgore Parkway widening and extension project, the amount of 57,340. Go ahead.
Okay, so it is on. All right, so Natalie put this on. This will be for one of our projects. This is coming directly off the contract with the bid prices. We've got 3 of our testing services qualified, and this is the price that came back for the testing that we are requiring or anticipating on the project. So asking y'all to go ahead and approve this.
So for approval.
Hey, Corey.
Yes, sir.
Motion by. Second. Okay, motion by Commissioner Tice, second by Commissioner Combs. I know he said it quietly. Now, go ahead.
With material prices being like y'all, we're gonna still be halfway in budget or whatever on this project.
So the bid prices are already set on this, and that's, that can't change.
Okay.
So, unless we do change orders that actually change the scope or something beyond where it would change the material, you know, or something like that. So, and I'll give an update on it, on the 3.6 item.
All right, got a motion second. Other questions? Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 3.6, discuss and consider Kilgore Parkway update. There you go, Corey.
Okay, thank you, Judge. We had our update meeting, monthly meeting, yesterday, and discussed the project. It is moving forward. They're actively working on lime treating, the dry weather out there. You know, they're having trouble keeping moisture. They went ahead and laid down a prime coat to lock in that moisture and keep that from degrading, help protect the subgrade. Looks good. We're working on low-nos. I believe that we're anticipating to get the last low-no for oil and gas lines today, potentially. And working on the power poles, just noting that CenterPoint's doing a really good job. They're moving forward with engineering on getting that moved. We could have some potential issues with the others like Comcast and Frontier that happens to be on the power poles. As y'all know, the situation with Frontier, and I hope that doesn't end up being a sticking point or a problem. But as we move forward, but we've got, I believe Bobby had said that y'all talked about the 5-foot strip that's up there around 3180. We still need to purchase, working on that. They should be starting today. They finally got all the box culverts for that large box run up there on the north end and should be starting that today. They're working with the property owner to ensure that that goes according to the way he would like, and make sure his livestock is not in the area when that's occurring. Material testing is all passed and positive. And we should be looking towards paving concrete in about a month starting. We're trying to get, well, we do have a change order. Right now, it's $181,000 to move over to slip form paving from a jointed hand poured. One thing they didn't put in there was moving it to continuously reinforced, which would be much better if they're going to go ahead and slip form it. They're working on a price for that for me now. So just, I guess one of the things is that something y'all would, we feel like we want to go ahead and get a change order on, or do y'all have any thoughts on that? I mean, it's not an actual action item at this point, but just that's something we could talk about.
Would that be your recommendation?
Well, so right now their prices are still pretty low on their concrete, and I think they've given us a really good price.
What's your price on cubic yard for you?
I believe it's $66 a cubic yard. It was 62.50 or 60, maybe it was 62, and they're going to 66.50 or 66.25, but that's still lower than the other bid that we got for just the actual hand poured concrete, even with the slip form. So I feel like it's a really competitive price. So
It'd go a lot faster with it.
it would. And with a continuously reinforced, well, even with a slip form, you're going to see a smoother ride overall. And then with continuously reinforced, you're going to see less maintenance in the future.
So you're gonna put that on the agenda as a change order?
Yeah, we will. Yes.
Future?
Yes.
Yeah, this weather's not gonna last forever.
No, it's not. Y'all have any questions?
When did you say the box culverts are due in?
They're in now. They should be placing them, starting today is what they're anticipating.
And that's at the DC ditch as well as the drainage?
That is up on the easement.
Yeah. the
Yes,
drainage.
yes, the 60-foot drainage easement. They don't have the boxes for the DC ditch, any of the Kilgore, the existing channels that we have. They're constructing those now, should be in within the next 2 weeks. So there's plenty of work. We're still hoping that, the power poles don't end up being an issue down the road, but there's plenty of work for them to do at this point. So anyway.
Okay, no action on 3.6. We go to 3.7, discuss and consider text dot repair guidance for FM 1409.
Yes, sir. So I've been working with Larry and TxDOT. I guess, Larry, I'll give you the floor to start with, and you can give yours, and then I'll follow up with my discussions with TxDOT.
Morning, Larry. Is that on?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Larry Marr with DEC Corporation. I'm engineer of record for FM 1409. Many of you know that the asphalt pavement on 1409 has now started experiencing some cracking around the edge of the shoulders. We have engaged HTS, the geotechnical engineer of record on this project, to give us a report. They told me that I would get that report this week. The report should include probable causes and recommended solutions. So there are several solutions available, some less expensive, some more expensive. So we will be presenting that or discussing that with you when that comes in. We've engaged TxDOT. We've asked them to come out and take a look. We've been waiting for them to provide some sort of guidance on what they believe we should do, since that road will become their road in the future. So nothing to report other than that we're waiting on this report from HTS. As long as the weather stays hot and dry, the cracks are there, and in some cases they're growing in length and growing in width. Nothing we can do about it.
Is it widespread or is it just?
Yeah, it's throughout, occasional, and some of it's pretty narrow. And I experienced this back, y'all probably remember back in 2011, we had a similar drought that occurred. We had some pretty extensive cracking in some of our roadways. At that time, we put a 0 PI sand in there. I actually had reached out to other offices across the state of Texas to see, because I had no experience in dealing with it at the time, but reached out to see what they had done. They put a 0 PI sand in there to kind of act as a backer rod or as a backer to, if it was wide enough, we swept a little hot mix into the cracks and then sealed the top of it. If it was thinner, then we would do a crack seal on it. That worked in most situations. And then, like Larry's saying, the drought's ongoing, so sometimes the damage is continuing a little bit. But anyway, reaching out to TxDOT, I did write them an email, sent it to several individuals, and I was anticipating an answer back before today when I put this agenda on it. Talking with the area office, it sounded like it was coming. I was not happy with the direction they seem to be leaning. And so I did talk to Commissioner Hammond a little bit about it. So, I mean, I certainly, in the situation is, I know that we're testing it. I think there's no question it's isolated to the drought. We tested all of the materials throughout the project duration, the processes during subgrade base and hot mix layers. Everything met specifications. There's no question on the material. There's certainly, if you had like a small isolated location, that could be the case that you missed something, but there's no doubt it's happening along the edge of the shoulders where you're getting that dryness that's occurring. So it's wicking moisture out from underneath that pavement. and causing it to pool somewhat. So all of our payments do that. You get concrete buckling during this kind of situation too, where stuff shoves. But anyway, there again, anything you do going down deep is not going to fix. You can't bind base to base in that situation. You're still going to have a separation there. So anyway, just we're still in discussions, and anyway, I just want y'all to be aware of where we're at, and we will continue to. I don't know. We might need to follow up with TxDOT at some point as a court or something like that. But anyway, just want y'all to be aware of the situation. So
We've also asked Texas Sterling, the general contractor on the roadway project. They are out there today with their asphalt paving sub, GMJ, to look at the situation to see if their asphalt paving sub has some recommendations, if they've seen this before and what they've done in the past. So we've got some recommendations coming now from 3 different sources. So we will see what the recommendation is.
So no action
Correct.
on 3.7, but you'll, I guess, put it on the next court, Corey?
yes, sir. Hopefully I'll have you an answer quickly. Like we said, we want to try to get this thing sold and completed so that we can get start being reimbursed on this project.
Now, when Texas Sterling does do the repair method, this will be a change order for their work because it's obviously not in the bid documents.
Yeah, and we still have money in that.
We still have money in the construction. Yes. There's as we measured the cracks about 2 weeks ago, there's about 5,000 linear feet of cracking 2 weeks ago. We noticed that the cracks are increasing in length and some increasing in width. So the repair method that we think that we will do is paid for by the linear foot.
Right. And I would also like to note that this is all in the shoulder. There's nothing out in the lane. There's no safety issues to the traveling public at all. This is way off of the travel lanes. So.
We need to be careful going forward too, and accepting responsibilities for us making these repairs. You know, this isn't our problem. So we didn't cause this. Our contractors didn't cause this. You know, so if we go out there and make them repairs, then we're going to take ownership of them repairs. And you can bet TxDOT's going to hold us to that. So I'm not.
Yeah, but once they take over the road, it should be their
Yeah,
responsibility.
them repairs are going to be hanging around forever. So I think we need to be cautious on what we agree to do.
I agree, Tommy, with it. We certainly need to. I think there's going to be a few meetings to make sure that we're on the same understanding of the direction and.
So you're saying TxDOT needs to sign off on whatever the repairs are.
Yes,
Is that what you're
definitely.
getting at?
Yeah, and we don't. This is no perpetual repair plan.
Right.
You got legal involved for
Not yet.
it?
I don't think we're there yet, but
Yeah.
And that makes repairs, we're not admitting that, we caused the problem.
Correct.
Hey, while we're on that subject, Judge, of repairs and check that, can I go over a couple of bills?
does that have to do with 1409?
No, I'll do it as a citizen comment. We need to.
Okay.
One last thing. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
We put this in the act of God category. So it's not anybody's responsibility.
And that's what my email said as well. So.
Okay, no action on 3.7. 3.8, discuss, consider accepting right-of-way donation from Kevin Spear, shown in Exhibit A of the donation deed. Billy, what's yours?
Yes, this is a tract of land that we need to acquire for Chambers Parkway. It's located on Needle Point Road. And Kevin has agreed to donate it. It's not a large piece, it's about 1/3 of an acre. But in donating, he'd like to request that we rename Chambers Parkway to Gordon Spear Chambers Parkway. I wanted to bring that before the court to look at it, for monetary donation. It's not a big donation, but everybody that knows Gordon Spears knows that he had been very active in Chambers County for a long, long time. And just to honor him, I have no issues whatsoever with renaming the road. It will require, there is a subdivision going in. It's already started. I'm probably signing addresses and stuff off of the road. I mean, if we're gonna do it, we need to do it sooner rather than later before that road gets developed. We just changed it, 18 months ago or something like that. That's the bad part. Anyhow, I have no problem with it, not so much for the monetary donation, but just in honor of Mr. Spear.
And it's, and there is a special call meeting on Friday at 9:30 to officially rename that road.
I do want to say that if we accept this donation deed today, we are agreeing today to rename.
Motion by Commissioner Combs,
Second.
second by Commissioner Tice. Any questions? We have to have a public hearing to rename that road? Okay. All right, those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Okay, it's 10:02 a.m. We're going to recess out of regular session of Commissioners Court and go into public hearing 1 of 3. Public hearing 10 a.m. regarding changes to Chambers County Subdivision Manual, Infrastructure Criteria Manual, and Drainage Criteria Manual.
Yes, sir. We've been batting this around for about a month and a half, and it's time to take action. So I have no comments.
All right, citizens comment, Mr. Cognata.
I think you signed up for another one.
Which one? Oh, you're on the right drain. Okay, sorry. Got you. Sorry, I read it wrong. All right, any citizens' comments regarding the infrastructure criteria manual and drainage criteria manual?
You still in public comment?
We're in public hearing.
Public.
You want to make a public comment? Come on. You got 3 minutes to make your public comment. Then will you fill out a form for me when you get there?
Okay.
Please.
Well, I filled it out. I'm gonna sign in, but I didn't fill out a form, but
So we do.
well, just a few things.
That's your name for the record, sir.
Don Brandon, former county employee.
Thank you.
And, I noticed, in the manuals that, either grammar and spell check are still turned off. And they've been turned off since 2005, so the staff don't be concerned because but now's a good time to correct some of those. But there's still that needs to be corrected. I guess the two things that I'm concerned about was the subdivision manual indicates that the county is still to perform the drainage reviews, and they're gonna perform those for a fee, and which is understandable. I understand that. I'm not sure I agree with some of the consultants that they have hired to do that for the county, but that's neither here nor there. But under the drainage criteria manual, it indicates that the Trinity Bay Conservation District will perform reviews within their jurisdiction and let the county know when, if it's been approved. And we've talked about this before, and if the county wants to do those reviews for the Trinity Bay, that they could do that under a interlocal, but which I don't agree with that still too, but that I think that it's like I've said before, I don't understand why an entity that has jurisdiction over drainage would want to give up that part of their jurisdiction or their part of what they should do to another entity. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I wouldn't want as a Trinity Bay taxpayer to have to go into Trinity Bay and say, hey, how come I got flooded? And they say, hey, don't come to me. He says, go to the county. They did the review. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Last thing is that I brought this up too before, is that since Trinity Bay is not present, says either they're okay with how everything is going, or they weren't notified probably or they don't care about drainage. That's how drainage is handled in their jurisdiction. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, other comments, public hearing. Okay, here none, at 10:06 a.m. We will adjourn out of public hearing, go back in the regular session of Commissioners Court. 3.2, discuss, consider adopting the changes to Chambers County Subdivision Manual, Infrastructure Criteria Manual, and Drainage Criteria Manual. Bobby, Corey, anything you want to address?
Yes, so, and I
on,
could,
Don's concerns or
I
anything
could,
else?
yes. So I was waiting for the proper time to do that. Thank you. So actually Trinity Bay was in our last meeting. They are fully aware of everything that we're doing. It was discussed one last time. If you know that scenario, and I certainly do agree with Don that makes sense, or it seemed like it made sense, and that's the reason that we brought legal in to discuss this. Our legal advice was that Trinity Bay could essentially really only take care of the stuff that directly drained into Trinity Bay ditches. If it hit a county ditch or a TxDOT ditch first and then drained into it, that's not something that they could do. It got fuzzy. Same thing. So we felt like is what was going to end up happening was that you was going to have three different entities trying to have to go to. And so if one said, you know, say Trinity Bay says, well, that's not our concern. Yeah, we don't have to review that. Well, then somebody goes ahead and designs it. And they say, well, nobody told me that I had to go to TxDOT or I had to go to the county. And so the legal advice was the county has oversight over all of the area and has ultimate responsibility. So through that, we can review everything. In addition, Trinity Bay told us that if they took it over, they would use the exact same process that we're utilizing now. They would use the consultants, charge the fee, and go through that situation. So they're already involved in all of our DRCs. They provide advice through the process, and then they ultimately review and agree, you know, with the findings of the county and the engineer. But really, there's no additional cost nor time. It would be exactly the same, essentially, if you were going to Trinity Bay versus the county. And like I said, in addition, it would most likely be more confusing and lead to additional problems, similar to what we see on the Baytown side when you have overlapping authorities that get a little bit confusing, and sometimes things get awry.
So is the county not ultimately responsible at the end of the day?
Yes, we are.
That this work's done, so we have the final sign off.
Right, we do.
So they take care of all the engineering and design and all that, and then it would come back to the county for final approval.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Could, Bobby, you know, and Corey, about a month ago, I sat down with you guys and we went through it pretty good and I thought we was ready for court. Then you started saying you got a lot more comments and changes coming in. Can somebody give me a recap of what might have came in after I did the good thorough review? We went through everything.
I think when we got through that, that was about it. I think we haven't heard from many people. Or
Well, you came into the next court, Bobby, and said you, all of a sudden, everybody started coming in.
but they didn't. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything in writing coming in.
I agree that with what Don said, there are a couple of typos and stuff in here. I don't want to go into it right now, but might want to just correct that before we take it out. But the only thing substantial that I wanted to ask to look at was on the drainage. I think it's on page 175 in here. And basically what it is for commercial development. And, you know, we've got a elevation that we're requiring above the streets and above the natural grade and stuff in the 500 year for residential. But for the industrial, let me see if I can find that thing.
Is it under detention analysis?
Yeah, it's on page 176.
176.
I just gotta get to it.
You could type it in that little box. and
You know, I
get
never
in.
thought about that, Judge.
Okay, I just learned that as I was doing it.
I didn't know you could do
Yeah,
that.
You know how tech savvy I am.
Y'all need some help on that, let me know.
Okay, come on over here. Okay, commercial and industrial finished floor elevation shall be at or above the 100-year base flood elevation or 1 foot above the most adjacent storm sewer manhole. And I wasn't really sure what the adjacent storm sewer manhole was or what that is.
Well, I don't recall that location exactly, and I don't have the book with me, but the manhole would be the entry point on the top of these storm sewer inlet. So on the street, on like for a curb and gutter section, you got your curb and gutter, then you have your storm sewer,
So
you
you're
got the
talking
manhole.
about an
So,
inlet, not necessarily a manhole.
well, yeah, so it's the manhole entry point for that inlet is what it appears that is referring to. And then you'd go 1 foot above that. So basically, you're knowing that your storm sewer design has to be accommodating so that it all goes, it fits within that, in your street design. So essentially that would be, I mean, that could be like a 10 or 25, probably a 10-year storm event. I don't know. And then you're going a foot above that. So that seems pretty, I mean, it could actually even be higher than that, but anyway.
Yeah, I was just a little concerned that we're only looking for 1 foot above the 100-year. And I had no idea what that meant. Now, if you say storm sewer inlet, I know what that is, but.
I believe,
not the manhole.
yeah, I don't know. We can check that. I do agree. It sounds like 1 foot above that point, because that would not be the 100-year. A storm sewer is not designed on a 100-year storm event. It's designed on like a 5 to 10, which, for instance, on Eagle Drive, that's the reason that you see the flooding so often, because it's on a much lower storm event cycle than you would have like for a normal, like crossing under a roadway or something like that.
But the road's made to hold the water, correct?
Yes, right. Yes, the streets are part of the design, and so your cross slope. So, yeah, right. So the one foot above the 100 would be the controlling factor. Bobby's right. I mean, that's what essentially I'm saying. That's going above that inlet top or the manhole is really not even. It doesn't even need to be in there because that's not going to be a controlling item. 1 foot above the 100 would be the controlling item.
Okay.
So we just gotta be at or above the 100-year floodplain or 1 foot above that storm. So.
It should say
No, it
1
don't
foot
say
above
1 foot above it. It says shall be at or about the 100-year BFE or 1 foot above the most adjacent storm sewer manhole. And that's,
I don't know. I'm assuming that has to do with general CFM language that was not passed through what our normal. If you pass it and ask us to make that change, then we can do that.
well, then I'll make that motion. That we approve it with the change on the page 69 of the drainage manual.
And the language
Huh?
and spelling and language. or
And
grammar.
spelling and language.
Grammar and spell check.
Grammar.
Okay.
Spell check.
I got a motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Hammond. Any other questions, comments?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Now, we're approving this here, so this will be our new standard. So when it goes to Ms. Hawthorne's office, IT, who's taking out the old manual and putting this new manual in to the internet so everybody can look at it?
IT should do that. So we will send a request.
But Road and Bridge coordinate with IT to do that.
Yes, that's how it's done, right?
And it'll be a permanent part at the commissioner's court record, so.
Yes. But when our contractors look at it, we want to make sure that they don't say, hey, you didn't get it in there. Hold us to the old one or whatever.
Well, the problem that we normally see is they Google the information instead of looking at our website. And so if you look at Google, you can still pull up like sometimes the 2004 or some of these older manuals that are out there, and they don't go to the actual website. So anyway, that's.
But it's, and I know there's been some issues. It's Corey's responsibility, Road Bridge responsibility to get it to IT to put it.
And we will do that immediately.
And that's effective today.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
If we approve it. Oh, we already approved it. Never mind. No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries effective 10:16 a.m. All right, 3.3, discuss, consider approving Chambers County right of way and adjoining drainage facilities permit. Now, Mr. Keegan. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you, Judge and Court. My name is Louis Cognata. That's my beautiful wife again over there, Mona Cognata. And, I am here today to ask the court to allow me to have an agenda item at the court's August 9th meeting. On August 9th, we will propose to replace the permit that is the subject of 3.3 here with an agreement to clean out South Lawrence Ditch. Now, this is only for us to replace the permit. It's not for others. But the use of the proposed permit for Lawrence Road Ditch clean out does not abide by Texas Local Government Code 245. This new permit cannot be imposed on an ongoing subdivision project. We have an alternative to that, which we're proposing, which is in this package right here, a one-time agreement for us with the county instead of the permit. Our intent with the court's agreement is to meet the spirit of the Chambers County permit and to clean out the ditch in a safe, efficient manner while not violating Code 245. Our intent is to use a TxDOT-based agreement, not the use of the county permit for our cleaning out the ditch, and to also use TxDOT for insurance liability guidance. We use TxDOT Form 2036 agreement for access to TxDOT property. And we use TxDOT Form 1560 certificate of insurance for our guidance to create this agreement. Chapter 245 protects subdivision developers from local regulation changes once the developer has filed a development application with the local government. Chapter 245 requires that the new permit not be applied to High Ridge Estates subdivision because High Ridge Estates subdivision became vested when High Ridge Estates filed its first application with Chambers County on 2/8/2016. And we paid for the payment for Chambers County to do that in 2016. High Ridge Estates subdivision has been continuously in development, and I mean continuously in development from 2/8/2016 to date. In accordance with Chapter 245, High Ridge Estate subdivision's vested rights provide assurance that High Ridge Estate must not be required to use the new permit. So it is to the best interest to use the TxDOT-based agreement that we have in hand. So we ask the court to add to the agenda for this coming August 9th for us to argue this. And the title for the agenda would be for High Ridge Estate subdivision ditch cleanout, substitute the TxDOT-based agreement for the permit. I guess our time is up.
Yes, sir.
Can I have Mona's minute? I just got about 30 seconds left.
Yeah, I'll let you wrap it up.
There should be no engineering concerns with this ditch cleanout. No engineering concerns. Chambers Engineering has approved the subdivision drainage plan. The ditch cleanout will be done according to the approved drainage plan. If the court will allow, we will email a package, including the text dot based agreement for the court's consideration. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Okay, who's taking this? Corey,
I'll-
Billy?
Yeah. Look, if you don't mind, Corey, I'll let you comment in a minute, but I spoke with Cognatus out in the hall a little bit. And, you know, this permit application as proposed does allow for an applicant to apply for a variance. And I think that might be the best way to bring that back to the court in the form of a variance. But in the meantime, I had told him that I would get a meeting. I see, you know, Nathan is here now. Now, we just sat down with legal and engineering and just look at what he just commented on today. And then we'll bring this back and look at it at a future court date in the form of a request for a variance.
Hi, Corey.
So I guess one thing is, of course, this is not a text dot right away, and dealing with legal and Nathan on several issues. It's kind of crazy, but you would think that local regulations would be simpler, but actually there's some opportunity where text dot actually has some easier stuff, and it cannot be utilized over on the county road type stuff. So we, in some of the like Hatcherville Road type of situation, we had some stuff that we used at text dot for like an AFA, advanced funding agreement, that could be utilized. I thought we could simply use that for the local road. Nathan says, no, that is not a measure that we can do. And so, you know, he referenced that these are, you know, engineering wise, we're on the same page. I think engineering wise, we are on the same page. The problem is these are legal issues with bonds and such like that. And so, and insurance, yes. And so that's the real, I think, concern. Certain variances could be granted, but it would still have to meet with, I think, legal liabilities. And there again, that's outside of my realm. I would ask Nathan probably to comment on to the court, or if he's available right now. That's what I would advise. So.
Come on, Dave. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
The county approached me a few weeks back to draft a permit for folks who are going to go on county road right away or county drainage facility right away to do improvements, to gain access to county roads, to tie in driveways, to tie in drainage, but with a concern that before we allowed such permission, to have some document in place that, number one, gave the contractor or developer permission to do it, and number two, to protect the county to the extent something bad happens. And so for those reasons, those very good reasons, we drafted this permit that the county could use, didn't have to use, but could use in the event that relationship needed to take place. And what the document provides is sort of some terms that are important to the county. Indemnity, number one, that is, the developer gets out there and does this work and destroys or damages our property, our right of way, then the contractor needs to pay for it, or the developer needs to pay for it. And we also can require the contractor or the developer to have insurance to make sure he or she can pay for it. And you know, those terms just need to be spelled out in a basic permit form, which we've drafted. And I don't see a problem with it. I've heard the public comment, but I'm not sure why that arrangement or that document or that permitting requirement is somehow unlawful or inconsistent with Chapter 245 of the Texas Local Government Code. But if there's an explanation as to that, I'd love to hear it. And also, I think this has been brought up, there is some language in the permit, and it can be announced in a policy or procedure in the engineering department, that if a variance is requested, some good reason exists why the permit is not a good idea, the Commissioner's Court can always grant the variance and say, hey, we don't need a permit in this instance because whatever the circumstance is.
And
So.
I agree. I think Nathan did a really good job, and we had been over this. He made a couple little tweaks to it from the time it was presented at the last court. And then I really think we're talking two issues. What's before us right now is to pass this permit. And I will make a motion that we do pass it as presented.
Have a second.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What are we voting on?
3-3. You're away.
Permit.
I'm away.
3-3.
I got lost in the shuffle there.
Yeah. No, we're voting on this special use permit. We just adopted it to be used on our facility.
Okay.
And like Nathan said, we can always grant a variance, or we don't necessarily have to use it.
But we have it in place if we need.
Right, and it's not just for this application. It was drafted for work in all county right of ways.
If someone's in our right of way.
Which we have things in the works right now, other than this,
That are coming.
that it will apply to.
So I guess maybe a dumb question. Is this something the county could do? It's all on county right away. So is it something the county could do and be reimbursed for, or? I mean, does
I don't know why we couldn't.
that make sense?
Yeah, we could, I guess, but we're cleaning a whole lot of ditches right now.
I know, so, well, I'm just asking.
Can I speak to that? Would I be allowed to speak to that?
Why don't you address it? In fact, I think while you're here, you and Nathan and Billy need to, and Cory and Bobby need to sit down when we take a break and discuss this and coming back to next court.
We can do, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but like I say, right now, we're addressing this, and how we handle their deal is really a separate issue. What's before us is to adopt it.
This
Yes.
permit.
Adopt it moving forward to other items that are gonna come up.
All right, Cory, do you have something else? On that?
Yes, sir. So I was just gonna say that, this is just an additional tool that would speed the process in many instances. Certainly, we could always work out a special agreement in some form or situation, but Tommy, you certainly understand the issues that we've had on several of these, type of projects that we've tried to, gain the legal language to allow somebody to do some work on our right of way, right? And so that's why we asked Nathan to do this, because we were hoping that we would have basically a base form that we could follow that would speed the process. And then, everything doesn't fall apart because it's such a long, tedious process. So that's what the real intent of this is. It was also, all of those things that we've worked on in the past was a part of it, but also the Cognatas property as well. Certainly they could ask for a special situation, and that's something that could be granted and written up if y'all, wanted to do that. But anyway, with it, we just wanted a tool.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Nathan. All right, going down to economic development tourism, 5.1, public hearing 10 a.m. regarding NRG Cedar Bio 5 LLC Project Moonshot 2022 Reinvestment Zone. It's now 10:29 a.m. We will recess out of regular session and go into public hearing at this time. Good morning, BJ.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. This is a public hearing to address, you could receive public comment on the NRG Cedar Valley 5 Project Moonshot. It's, if you recall, this is a 690 megawatt generation facility that NRG is competitively assessing. They're competing sites in Harris County, Fort Bend County, and in Southeast Texas. So the forum is open to public comment.
All right, Commissioner Snack. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. And I don't have anything to add to this except to say I'm Rusty Sinak, retired county commissioner. But I certainly do support the energy moonshot project. It's extremely important for the state, the grid, and it's especially important for us locally to ensure that we can have local, regional, reliable electricity.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rusty.
That's the truth.
All right, other public comments. Yeah, the power's out in Old River this morning, by the way. Yeah, 847 homes. Okay, any other public comments? Hearing none, we'll adjourn out of the public hearing, go back in the regular session of Commissioners Court. 5.2, discuss and consider order designating the NRG Cedar Bile 5 LLC project Moonshot 2022 reinvestment zone. BJ.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. This is an order that would designate the 325 acre footprint for to accommodate the development of Project Moonshot as required by statute.
Move for approval. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Questions? Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 5.3, discuss and consider scheduling a public hearing on September 13th, 2022 regarding the NRG Cedar Bile LLC project Moonshot tax abatement agreement.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Hammond. Questions? Those in favor?
I would like to make the comment that I second what Rusty said. This is a project that we definitely need. And I see we actually have a board member in our presence from Lee College who recently showed their support for the project. We thank you very much.
We do.
Thank you.
Gilbert Santana, by the way.
Morning, Gilbert.
Yeah, this is one, I think this is one where y'all have never done a tax abatement before, and we're all, everybody's stepping up to play on this one. Thank you.
Part of the team.
Great, we appreciate it. All right, 5.4, public hearing, 10 a.m. regarding the Houston.
We did.
Yeah, we did. Y'all just didn't. Those in favor? 5.4, discuss public hearing 10 a.m. regarding the Houston Transloaded Partners LLC tax abatement agreement. 10:32 a.m. We'll go into out of regular session into public hearing. BJ.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. This is a public hearing that is required to receive comments on the tax abatement between the county and Houston Transloading Partners 1 LLC. If you recall, application was presented to court in May, on May 10th, and the request to establish a reinvestment zone was approved on May 24th. We've got a project principal here, Troy Adams with NFI Industries, which is a parent company, who wants to make some comments regarding the philosophy of the project.
Okay.
I've got a form here.
Thanks. Come on up. Thanks, sir.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Troy Adams, Vice President of Real Estate for NFI. I'm here today to speak in support of our proposed projects in the Cedarport Industrial Park. A little bit about NFI. We are in our 90th year as a family-owned company, headquartered in New Jersey, just outside Philadelphia. We are what's called a third-party logistics company, which simply means we provide different logistics and supply chain solutions to a whole host of customers, retail, food and beverage, you name it. We have 15,000 employees spread across North America. Our real estate portfolio exceeds 65 million square feet, and we're really excited to launch a new project here in your community, in your county. About a year ago, we kicked off the search for what we call a transload site, which simply means that one of our customers is bringing in additional new containers into the Port of Houston. And our facility will handle those containers, receive those into the facility, break those down, and then send them out across the country. So about a year ago, I was down here looking at sites, Harris County, Chambers County, really shooting east and west along I-10. Settled on Chambers County, specifically Cedarport, great infrastructure, utilities, great labor, and just a welcoming community. So we closed on the land earlier this year. We're about to break ground shortly, and the end result will be about a $26 million capital investment, 180,000 square foot facility, 200 dock doors that will be employing 200 employees in the first year, and then growing to over 300 employees thereafter.
Thank you, sir. All right, other citizens' comments. Here none at 10:35 a.m. We'll adjourn out of public hearing. Go back into regular session of Commissioners Court. 5.5, discuss and consider the Houston Transloading Partner One LLC tax abatement agreement. Begin.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners. The agreement is set before you in draft form. Embodies the recommendations that were approved by the court back in May with respect to the term and percentage of abatements presented for approval.
Yeah, BJ, what is the expected inventory on?
Yes, this is a,
I've seen that in there.
it was stipulated on page 5 of the agreement, minimum investment or minimum inventory turn of $7.5 million.
Yeah, I thought I saw it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So
6.04, 7.5. Plus we're getting 50%
That's correct.
in lieu of payments.
Yeah, payment low tax.
All right, I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Hammond. Any other questions, comments? Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. I think we got you done.
Yes.
All right, it's 10:37 a.m. Let's take 13 minutes.
How many?
13. I was at, we were in Florida, there was speed limit We're after executive session.
I had to recess.
After recess, sorry. 10:58 a.m. I was dreaming while you doing that. We're going to Park and Recreation, 6.1, discuss and consider adopting uniform rental rates and rules for the county owned buildings,
Yeah, this is something that actually I worked with Commissioner Gore and Lana and my secretary Kit worked on this for a while, and we found out, we started looking around that everybody that's renting buildings has different rates and different rules, no real consistency across the county. And we met back a few months ago now and looked at it, and just never really got it back into court. We wanted to make some fine tuning on it. So that's really what it is. We've got trying to get the rates uniform across the board also. A couple of changes that I think are worth noting is it does change that employees will get one free rental a year where it used to be two. And then the rates primarily, some of them got lowered on out on the west side on mine, and increases more on some of the buildings on the east side. They were a big difference between the rental rates. It changes a little bit about how many people you'll have if you're serving alcohol. It was really, well, there's a couple of different rules around. Everybody did a little bit different, but now for every 75 people, you have to have a uniform officer on duty. And we were at 100 before on the west side. And we worked with Gordon some on that. It raised the rate that they will pay the uniform officer. I don't know, Commissioner Gore, anything?
No, appreciate the effort that everybody's put into getting this here uniform across the county. Just make sure, and I guess we need to get this on the website or somewhere. And we're gonna, I guess we'll send it to IT and then get it to get it done.
Yeah, and we also worked with Parks Department, because the three offices that rent now are Commissioner Gore, myself, and Parks.
That's good. I know y'all put a lot of work into it. I was in one of the initial meetings and we were everywhere.
So it's going
I
to,
think it goes into effect.
We wanted to go into effect the new. That's a good question. I was thinking.
I know people have it rented out.
Okay, that's it. We were going to honor the rates. If we've already rented it, we were going to take it into effect immediately. But if they've already booked it, we're going to honor the rates that they've already booked. If they have not booked, they'll be under new rates. And yeah, my secretary's standing by. If I've got any questions for her, because she and Lana actually worked a lot of it together.
Yes.
All right, so it's gonna go in effect immediately, but you're going to honor the rates that people have already contracted for.
Yes.
All right, entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Gore. Any other questions or comments?
See a big disparity here between White's Park during the week and weekend, along with McLeod.
There is, it's because demand is on the weekend.
Is it? Okay.
And another thing that, point out, we made it uniform. If you are not a county resident, then it's twice what a county resident pays.
And we're not doing very many back-to-back rentals. I don't think we have that way we can save on inspection and stuff like that.
Well, we didn't eliminate it, but it did address that.
Yeah.
And each one of these ladies are responsible for returning the deposit. How does that, or?
Okay, see, and that was another discrepancy that had been happening different places. With this, all money are turned into the county treasurer.
Yes.
And the county treasurer is responsible for crediting back any deposits. The office making the rental will fill out a request for payment form and submit it to the county treasurer. And from there, the county treasurer will refund it. And the same thing goes with paying for cleaning. You know, that is to be paid by the county treasurer. So all of that should go through her office.
All right, got a motion second. Any other questions, comments? Those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. 8.1, discuss consider purchase 3 license plate recognition cameras for collection stations from Flock Group in the amount of $8,550.
George wanted to table it, Judge.
A1, George.
Yes, sir. Please table 8.1. We didn't see it until it was on the agenda, and there's still a couple things to be done before it's ready.
Thank you, George.
And you said you talked to.
I did talk to Miss Debbie. Yes, I did. All right. And Derek also, Commissioner.
Good. This is something we really need.
Yes, yes, sir. I understand.
Wasn't this a single source provider?
That's the issue. The sole source letter is not, it doesn't fit the criteria but we have vet that out. And like I said, I saw it on Friday, don't have time. They should have been going through my office 2 weeks ago when this started, or a year ago when this started, according to one of the commissioners. We'll get it right.
Okay.
All right, we'll table 8.1, 11.1, discuss, consider allowing Rise Broadband to add 2 additional small microwave dish antennas to the Beach City radio tower to enable them to provide internet service to a large business customer.
Good morning.
Hey there.
Filling in for Quentin today. He's out, but this is 2 parts. First, to allow Rise, we're asking permission for them to add the 2 additional dishes as it states. They are going to pay for a structural analysis on the tower. And then also in addition to that, we're asking to review the contract with the county attorney's office and look at changing the rate, meaning that they are adding additional equipment to the tower space.
You know, the last time we did this, our county attorney said we had to bid it.
I remember that.
So this is even for somebody that's existing on the tower already?
Yeah, to add to that, yes, Commissioner, that's exactly right. We either do a bid, a sealed bid for the service, or we can do an auction like we've done before. For this particular service. That's why I said I've been dealing with Ashley's office on this, and I was gonna just see what you guys had. I was thinking Quentin was gonna come in. I had already told Quentin we were not ready for this, but if y'all want to try and put it on the court, that's fine. But as far as legal is concerned, we still have some issues as to whether we can even do it that way.
Yeah, so we have a lease agreement, so it'd be amending the lease agreement.
That's right. Or can we amend it? Again, asking legal, or do we have to go
That's what I'm
back
saying,
out?
would be amending it.
Yes.
Now, can we do that? So,
You need to table it or
table.
both of them?
11.2, discuss, consider allowing the county attorney to review our current Rise broadband agreement. The Beach City Tower and consider increasing the real rate for this site. So if we're gonna table 11.1, I guess we table 11.2 also.
Yes, sir, Judge.
Okay, so just to be clear, this is, even though it's an existing provider on there. That's,
Again, yes,
okay.
again, just let us double check it
Gotcha.
before we do that, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe that we can do it. We table.
It's a tape.
It needs
Yes.
to come back.
I don't see why 11.2 can't move forward.
Well, it can, but she's actually working on it. If you want to vote on it, we will.
I mean, I don't think she needs our permission to review a contract.
Okay,
She doesn't.
right.
I think part of this is on here for, just for clarity.
Step to give a raise.
All right, so let's just pull 11.2 because she's already doing that. All right, thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Okay, we're down to consent. First thing 4, Billy.
I want to take 5 and 6 into the executive session. Oh, excuse me, 4.
5,
No, I did it. I said it right. Yeah, I said it right.
5 and 6, job description, payroll changes.
Yeah.
That all? Yeah. Billy.
That's it. Yes, sir.
All right, precinct 3, Tommy.
Need to pull item 21.
You gonna pull it or take it? You gonna bring it back?
Yeah, we'll bring it back.
Okay, let's take
It'll
it.
be changed.
Well, this will be changed when we bring it back.
Pardon?
It'll be pulled.
Well, see, I don't think everything's in the package that needs to be.
Can
be
I
the
get some
same item.
clarification, Commissioner, on 21 and 22? The issue being that he's trying to use capital money he was granted for another project for 2022. He can't do the project, so he's trying to use this money as he did last quarter to do some other projects that he can get done right now.
Correct.
This is two pieces of equipment that he needs to buy.
Yes.
We agree with him. They're available, but it should have been set up the same way. Can I move money from my capital 2022? Make two line items to buy these two pieces of equipment. It's a good idea, but he has to do that first. Yeah, 1921, 1922 should have been on the regular packet, not on the consent.
So
I'm glad you
he's fine to do that. I think we already got all that part straightened out, but he didn't check with one of the local vendors on pricing.
Okay, see,
So
I didn't know that.
He's
So,
going back and doing
but
that.
remember
So you
this
do-
too, what he has there are buy board prices.
Correct.
So I mean, in either way, we're good. But the issue being, y'all have to approve that he
All
can
right, so
use
we
that
need to
money.
pull 21 and 22
Yes, sir.
and get it
Yes,
straight.
sir.
Get the money straight.
Yes, sir. Get the money straight. But he does have the money, just not
Yeah,
the
he
right
does.
line. Okay.
All right, anything else, Tom?
No, sir.
And nothing more? No. Jimmy?
We pull both.
All right, we pulled 21 and 22. 5 and 6 going to executive session. I'll entertain a motion on the rest of the consent.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Tice. Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. So 5 and 6 will go to executive session. Under personnel issues, 20.1, and then I'm not sure if we have any seller purchase real property, but if we do, that will also go to executive session. 11:10 a.m. we will recess to executive session. All right, call come to order after executive session, 12:15 PM. We have one item, for the job description, payroll changes. I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, Judge, on the job descriptions and on the payroll change, I want to table the court assistant court coordinator. And then on the payroll change, I want to approve a $3 per hour pay differential pay for temporary nurses working in the jail.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Hammond.
Temporary assignment.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any questions, comments, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Nothing further to come before the court. We're adjourned at 12:16 PM.